G'day guys, how you doing? Back with another video. First, my apologies for not getting a video out to you guys sooner. I did try, I mean that, I sincerely did. I just wasn't happy with the material. And it's been based on this video right here, right now. I just have been struggling to put together. I just wasn't happy with what I was putting together. So, we need to talk about this new timeline, okay, and what is going to be playing out over the next 20 years. Because in the previous video, I talked about, as of August this year, 2024, we are 100% in this new energy. There's just no avoiding where we're at and what the next 20 years is going to look like, because it's going to get rough. And I'm not doing this for fear-mongering, scaremongering, or anything like that. I want to prepare you guys for what you're going to see rolling out in front of us. The first thing that we need, actually first and foremost, I've left a video in the description section below. It's a few, 4 or 5 weeks old. It showed up in my feed. Awesome video. I absolutely love what is in the video, because it genuinely confirms everything that I've been teaching you guys for ever, since I've had this channel. The only thing that I wasn't aware of was the length of time that it took us to get to 2012. This is 2012. We've been on this downhill run as far as our consciousness is concerned. I've known that. I just did not realize it was for 250,000 years, 250,000 years. So the reality of the situation, and I include myself in this also, that humanity right here, right now is pretty much at its dumbest point out. So, to understand what we're going to see rolling out over the next 20 years, and we're already starting to see signs of this around the world right now, we first have to look at what the old energy paradigm looked like. And what that was power and control. The old paradigm, the old energy was all about power and control over humanity. And that power and control was just in the hands of a select few group of people, select few extremely wealthy families. Well, those wealthy, powerful families things have changed hands over the last, obviously, 250,000 years. However, the reality of the situation is that the power and control over humanity has stayed still in the hands of a very small, select group of people up until 2012. Now, what those systems looked like that these families had put in place were religious systems, churches. That was the first real form of control over humanity. The next real form of control over humanity was some sort of financial system. Once the financial systems were introduced, then taxation was introduced. Then as these systems grew bigger and bigger and bigger, they needed governments and policing and sheriffs. Okay, they needed these individuals to keep control of these systems, to keep control of the people, so the money would keep on being funneled to those select few families. And that system has been working extremely well for those select few families for thousands upon thousands of years, while the peasants, and I don't care if you're a multi-millionaire, you're still a peasant compared to somebody who's worth trillions of dollars today, okay? The peasants have always kept the money flowing back to these select few families. Well, as of 2012, that whole timeline completely and utterly changed. All the power structures that these families have had in place over the next 20 years are slowly going to disintegrate. And I will explain to you just why. Okay? The first real signs of the energy from this new timeline, from 2012, the first real sign of the energy showing up from this new timeline was the invention of electricity. Well, electricity gave us the ability to develop, create, and build new devices. A lot of that new technology was utilized for more control over the people, to the point of even psychological and mental control. Even though the religious structures have always been psychological and mental control over the population, it really started getting out of hand once electricity started to be invented, because they were able to do movies, films, and then we got TV, and then TV segued off into the internet and computers, and that segued off into the whole digital technology field as far as cell phones, online media, all that sort of stuff. And these families have been able to have this incredible amount of power and control over humanity, and to be able to manipulate them psychologically to a point where it was just it's been off the charts. That's all there is to it. I mean, look at the wars that have happened over the last 20 years. It's just been absolutely unbelievable. The supposed war on terror. Whole load of bollocks there, but, you know, off to war everybody wants to go, you know. Look at everything that's going on right now with Ukraine and Russia, you know. It's all a dog and pony show to try to keep control over the masses. But as of August 2024, we transitioned into this new timeline 100%, because the old energy completely washed away. The old energy as of August 2024 no longer exists. So all those structures that were put in place by those select few families is going to fall apart. It's going to start crumbling. And there's nothing that they can do about it, because the energy from that old timeline is not here anymore in this new timeline to support those structures, those institutions. So they're going to fall apart. They're going to crumble apart. Okay? So, what does that look like? Well, we're already starting to see that. We're already starting to see governments struggling to keep control of their people. We're possibly going to see the financial system go through a massive collapse of some sort, because that's the most powerful control mechanism, control system that there is right now. And these power players aren't going to let go of that easily. They still want their money. They still want their power. They still want their control. So now they're going to do whatever it takes to keep that power and to keep that control over humanity. And the best way to do that is to completely and utterly collapse the system. They've still got their money because they still deal with gold. So they will have their powers, what they feel, to themselves. However, we, the minions, will be like, okay, this is a problem. We've got issues here. They will potentially want to do something to bring down the power grid, because the other form of currency out there is digital currency, and they don't like the idea that they don't have control over that digital currency. So there's a potential of there being some sort of catastrophic event that will bring down the power grid or bring down the banking system. I personally believe they're going to nuke New York. They're going to blow Wall Street off the face of the earth. That's my God's honest feeling. So we're going to see not just that, we'll see the military starting to become incredibly fragmented. You're going to start seeing even the police structures. You know, we actually saw police departments and the police forces coming under attack here in the United States during the whole COVID thing. So the reality of the situation is all these structures that were put in place, because there's no energy there to support it anymore, that the old paradigm is gone, they will become fragmented over the next 20 years. They will disperse, and you will see small pockets of stuff still in control, but overall, not so much. That's why you're seeing these power players making a power grab, like through the WEF. The WEF knows exactly what this timeline is about. They're completely and utterly utilizing this timeline to manipulate people into staying on the hamster wheel of life and buying into all this new green tech stuff. They know exactly what this timeline is, because the new timeline is about an increased consciousness, a awakening to our consciousness. And I've been talking about this ever since I started this channel, that it's about, as an individual, to raise your consciousness so you can learn about who you are as an individual. And when you finally learn who you are as an individual, or you even have somewhat of an idea of who you are as an individual, then you'll see how you fit into the combined collective consciousness. So right now, we're just at the baby steps of that awakening or raising of our consciousness. The men are actually going through it more so than what I believe the women are, to be 100% honest, because like I said in a previous video, we're seeing the younger females, and just females in general, diving off into abstract materialism, which is just insanity. And the young men, even the older men like myself, even my roommate who's 72, he's like, fuck it, I'm done. Men are checking out. Men are checking out. We've kept all this going for no avail. We don't get any thanks, we don't get any gratitude, we don't get anything. We go to wars, we die, we spill our blood. The amount of masculine blood that has flowed into this earth's crust over thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years is beyond disturbing. 100% beyond disturbing. And we're done. It's like, no, we're done. We don't want your wars. We don't want your bollocks. We don't want your BS. We just want to do the little bit that we want to do, and we're going to be happy with that, and we're good. So we're actually seeing, because men are doing that, that actually starts to raise their consciousness. Men are actually going to a place of increasing their consciousness purely out of default. It's pretty amazing. But that is also understandable. When you understand esoteric knowledge like I do, you can see why men are heading off to a higher consciousness, because we're represented by the Father, God. We are the Godhead, and we're leaving woman behind. Now, the other thing that we can't leave off the table over this next 20-year period, and this is something that is a pretty good chance it will happen, and that is an act of God. Some event that will actually force humanity to wake up, and not so much the masculine side of humanity, but the feminine side of humanity. And an act of God is some sort of cataclysmic event on this planet that will make the population like shudder, like, oh my God, what the hell is going on here, you know? Because women don't want to leave their materialism behind in any way, shape, or form. The majority of women want their materialistic home. They want their nest. They want this stuff, right? We have to look at what the root base of consciousness is. What is the root of our consciousness? Well, to understand that, let's remove, hypothetically, all of humanity off the planet, and all that is left is just all our man-made structures. Well, what will happen is over hundreds of years, all these man-made structures would slowly but surely crumble away, and what would be left? It would be pure nature. Nature is God consciousness. It is nature working perfectly in unison with itself to support and to sustain itself. And it happens automatically without effort. It just happens. That is what root consciousness is. So don't be surprised that over this next 20 years, humanity is forced back to nature in some way, shape, or form. Myself personally, that's what I'm preparing for. In all honesty, I've never thought I'd ever be a prepper in any way, shape, or form. I'm not panicking over it. I'm just making sure that if some major cataclysmic event does happen, that is going to force humanity back into nature, and that is taking away our electricity. Because we're not using our electricity and our power in the correct way. We're using it in very nefarious ways that aren't supporting the collective consciousness of humanity. There's a good chance that could potentially be taken away from us. And if that is potentially taken away from us, then we're back in the Dark Ages. Like that. So that's why I've been spending time personally myself off-grid, spending the time that I have been in nature and finding a place that I can actually escape to if I needed to escape to, or be around like-minded people. So we have to look at this stuff and realize that there's going to be a lot of moving parts over this next 20 years, because like I said, as we're leveling out right now, and we have to be, at the end of that 20 years, we need to be on a trajectory up that's going to be moving up, that's going to carry us on a path of increased consciousness, of an increased awakening, and living in a more conscious way, which is living in a way that is in more harmony with the planet. And again, I mean, I look at what I do. I never thought I'd be a person that would literally be talking like this. However, when I look and research and study what this new timeline represents, there's no arguments. That's all there is to it. So, like I said, that's what I've been wanting to put out as far as information, as far as what potentially to expect. There will be some stuff that will happen. Not everything that I said. Well, yeah, Jesus Christ. Everything that I said, there's a pretty good chance that everything that I've just said will actually happen, to be quite honest with you. And if the power players utilize any sort of nuclear device to bring about trying to keep control of their power over humanity, that's going to be a real mistake. And that's what the next video is going to be about, because we're not allowed to use the nukes, period. So that's this video for today. And yeah, until the next video, make it great, guys. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And yeah, thank you for watching, fellas.